I would feel like throwing up and like fainting. It was so horrible, so strange. It was really, that moment I remember well.
Hi, my name is Laine, and welcome to Laine's Domain, where we deconstruct the game of life one player at a time. Today's special guest player is Svetlana. Svetlana was born in Yugoslavia, but she now lives in Serbia. Svetlana is an artist, one of the top-rated artists on 99 Designs. She has won 128 awards so far for her amazing art. With all of that beauty, you would never believe the type of life she has lived. With a backdrop of war, infighting, ethnic cleansing, dictators, bombardments, and sirens, her mother was an intense narcissist. To the outside world, the family was perfect, but behind closed doors, Svetlana was beaten and abused mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, every which way. You would never believe also that she creates the most beautiful art, full of light, full of beauty, full of spirit. Let's join her and find out her story. The first thing I asked her is to tell me about herself, and where she began was her happy place, which is Split, Croatia. Let's join her now.
Svetlana, it's so great to see you here today. Thank you so much for being here.
Welcome. I'm glad to talk to you. Yes.
Oh, great. So tell me about you.
Where to start? Which part? What about?
Start anywhere and then we will go from there.
Well, yes, I remember that nice place that I loved so much. It is Split in Dalmatia. I remember that place as really something special for me. Me who are not connected very much even to the place where I was born, where I was living, with any place particularly. But I loved Split from the first moment. I fell in love with the city. It is nature, it is fantastic nature, and it is the old city that I love so much. It was Diocletian's palace. Diocletian was one of the few emperors that die by natural cause.
When was that?
It was really long time ago, but still this part of city is palace. It's not intact, but in a very good shape even today.
Let's go back in time, even though we're talking about something wonderful right now, which we will get back to. You were born in Yugoslavia, and yet you live in Serbia now. How did that happen? How did your Yugoslavia become Serbia in your lifetime?
Well, it was, my story went this way, that my father was in military service. And for some reason, he wanted to go back to Serbia. I mean, it was even then Serbia as a republic, but not separate. I mean, it was, all of it was Yugoslavia, and Serbia was one, it was Slovenia and Bosnia and all those republics. Serbia was one of the republics, and he wanted to go to Serbia, back to Belgrade. I don't know, he probably felt like it because he was born in Serbia, and I'd prefer if he wanted to move to Split, but he didn't.
So how old were you when your father moved you to Serbia?
I was 20 years old.
Wow, interesting. So tell me a little bit about your childhood.
My mother was beautiful and very nice dressed. She was always smiling and have jokes, and she was intelligent, well read. I loved books because of her. She was narcissistic, all right, but she had some good points, let's say. And the father was enabler, and he was handsome guy, and he was really very nice. He was by nature really nice person to other people, and to me lesser, because he was loving my mother and he always tried to get her validation. So very often he would also offend me, minimize me, and he was not so nice to me, but never sadistic, never ever. He never raised a hand on me or something like this.
You described your mom as narcissistic. Tell me, what does narcissistic mean to you?
It means entitled, superior, and she had this drive to compete with me. At that time I was kid, and later as a teenager I didn't know that. I only knew that she was very mean to me. I didn't know why. Later on is that I learned how these things go on, and I was like, oh, yes, yes, yes. While I was reading, I checked every field about narcissistic mothers. I felt empty inside, and I felt guilty for no reason. If anybody would ask me, why do you feel so guilty? I wouldn't know. But that was the way narcissists do to her victims. Narcissists usually make his victim to believe, to doubt herself, and to have very low self.
So you had mentioned that on the one hand, your mother would be kissing and hugging you, and
Yes.
then on the other hand, she would be beating you. I mean, what would you be thinking as a child with that kind of off and on behavior? Did it feel like love and then hate?
No, I adored her. I simply adored her. I admired her. And I thought I was really bad. I must be so bad and lousy because she had to beat me. Often she would say, oh, I'm sorry, I feel worse than you because I'm beating you. Something like this. I believed everything that she said. I was confused, but basically I believed her that it must be some reason. She knows better than I.
So was it because you did certain things that angered her, or was it out of nowhere, the beatings?
It was mostly now out of nowhere. I don't know, so anything could have set her off. You just don't know. It is like minefield. It was terrible. Later on, it was kind of really mean. It was something like, what do you look like? Look at yourself. You look like a whore. Or something like this.
I need a fresh soul and a different body. I need to.
So that comes up to the point where she's competitive with you and jealous of you.
Yeah, at the time I didn't know that. I believed she loves me, but it was kind of tough love or something, that she's just complicated person and that sort of thing, and that I should put her stuff in one ear and let it go on another one, but it was not possible. It was not possible. I remember my hands would shake. I would feel like throwing up and like fainting. It was so horrible, so strange. It was really, that moment I remember well.
So it got to be a point where you couldn't eat, you said. You were unable to eat because
Yes, I couldn't eat. I felt disgusted by food. I even remember that I hated the smell of the French fries, which I love French fries. Could you imagine what level I was in? It was horrible. And plus I felt guilty because I was making troubles for my parents who loved me.
Was your father able to defend you at all or protect you from your mother's violence?
No, never. But she was very cautious not to beat me in front of him.
Oh, so he never knew what she was doing. Wow. And what about your hair? You said they would cut your hair off.
Yeah, but as a kid, they would let me be with my hair for some time, but then they would bring me to cut it as a boy. I look like boy. Generally, she hated anything that was very feminine, especially as I grew up. She hated it. She wanted me. I remember that when I was 14 or something, she was dressing me. I looked like a old spinster or something. I mean, it was something horrible. She had a good taste, but for me, she was choosing this at a time when only thing I wanted it was jeans. But jeans was not allowed.
Light the fire under me, burn everything that will remind you of her. Take away all I see. I don't want to be a part of this for much longer.
Were you into fashion when you were young? Is that why the clothing really bothered you that your mother put you in?
Not immediately, actually, not because I believed I was lost case anyway, that I was anyway ugly and terrible, and whatever I wear, it would look ugly. But later on, when I started high school, things changed. I was allowed to have some jeans, and it was then I thought, wow, I have some talent for it. In this way, it was looking really good. And at the same time, my body was covered completely.
Tell me about your drawing. When did it start? How old were you when you first realized that you loved to draw and that you had some talent?
I was always drawing. I was draw all the time.
Wow. What kind of things did you draw? What did you love drawing?
I usually I drew scenes from the everyday life. And I remember that I was drawing her very often, like she was yelling and she was mad and she was screaming. That was all the time subject, and my parents, they would laugh at it, actually. Look, it is so good, ha ha ha, but they learned nothing. They were not interested at all. It was just, and of course I would uh, draw some girls, some fashion girls, some butterflies, the things I like to draw today. More or less it's the same: fashion, butterflies, flowers. That's my thing.
Yeah, well, I will tell you that that reminds me of the first time I came across your art and I saw that butterfly that was, I think it was at the top of your portfolio, and I was just, oh my God, it was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. I couldn't
Thank
stop
you.
looking at. Yeah, yeah, you you have such extraordinary talent. So, okay, so you didn't love school, you didn't love grade school, you didn't love secondary school, but your father took you to Zagreb to the applied arts school. And what happened there when you were a teenager?
Yeah. Actually, I was supposed to go to nearest school at that time. That was kind of these socialistic countries. They had some rules. I don't know, and one of these stupid rules were to go to the nearest high school. And nearest one was something horrible that includes mathematics and all that things that I hated, and plus not nice at all. And I was totally depressed. Even my father noticed, and he asked me. And when he heard that I'm about to go to that school, he was like, no, you are going to art school. Like that was something normal. But how? We can't go against the rules. No, you can't go there. Come on, I'll talk to them. And I was so ashamed. I thought that they are going to laugh at us and they will see that how untalented I was and all that. But actually, it was opposite. And I passed, and it was one of the best moments in my life. I can't remember. I can't recall when I was so happy. I'll never forget while I was observing this list, who passed. And there was that line, and it is like these names of us who passed. And it was like I don't know, other people who fell out. So I was sure I was below the line. But no, I was above the line.
So how was that school experience for you? What was it like to be in art school?
It is lots of different experiences. I was so proud to go to that, one of the oldest buildings in Zagreb, beautiful building. And those were my people. They were into art, and I had a very good art teacher actually, and he encouraged me a lot. He was amazing.
That's great. So let's move on to Boban, your first husband, your first love. Tell me about Boban.
He was very handsome and cute, but he was also normal. At that time, I got to meet only psychos that that he's psycho immediately. He would brag, or I don't know. Lots of very strange individuals around. So he was the first one who was really decent. He was clumsy when he was meeting me. I liked that. I knew that he was not a player. I appreciated it that he was clumsy with that. And later on, whatever he would say, it was kind of okay. He would maybe flatter me, but in a nice manner. He told me that he went out with some girls that were very attractive. I believe that because he was really good looking. But he would be bored very soon because they behaved as princesses, very high maintenance. They would brag and that sort of stuff, and that he liked that I was actually humble and normal. Yeah, the same impression that I had about him, he had about me.
Looking on the city lights, flashing bright in my eyes. Look up to the sky and I got this relief inside, and there's no need to hide. I'm going all the way up.
So what was great about your life together and what didn't work?
The great thing is that he was very observing person actually for the stuff around him. He was not very good at observing himself, no, but he noticed immediately my strange relationship with my mother. He noticed how unhappy I was because of it. He even noticed the consequences of it. He noticed that I was people pleaser, that I was genuinely lonely, and that I was trying my best to win somebody's friendship.
So he understood you.
Very much he understood me, and that thing helped me a lot because it was the first time that some person was validating me for what I was going through with my mother. He was first not to say, oh, but your mom is so great. He was first one who said that she's a very much deranged person, that I can't help it, that it is not about me, it is about her, and it is better for me to stop trying to please her, that she is not capable to love me, that it is not something that she's on purpose like this just she's that way, and that's it, and I should accept it, which was for me at that time, it was very hard to accept.
So that was hard. When he told you that, you didn't believe him at
I
first.
did believe him, but I was so afraid. I was so desperate. I couldn't believe in that. I thought maybe he's wrong. Maybe she's not. I was defending her. I was telling how clever she was. And I remember him telling, yes, she is very intelligent and she is very talented, but as a person, she's very deeply hurt and she can't help it.
So was that the first time that you had anybody tell you, something opposite of what you felt about her?
No, he was the second one. Before that, while I was very depressed, my mother, who liked very much psychology, she dragged me to some psychiatrist. But I remember she was sure that that person will officially explain me how selfish and terrible person I am. So she will have an evidence how bad I was. I was so desperate at that time. I was really coping with staying alive or something. I really felt so horrible that I agreed. It can't be worse. But I remember when we entered the office of that psychiatrist lady, and whatever this lady would ask me, my mother answered, and instead of me. And in one point, psychiatrist asked her to leave, to go, to wait me in front of the door, the other side of the door. And I noticed that my mother was shocked. She was shocked. She went out. And when she went out, this psychiatrist told me, it is nothing wrong with you. It is wrong with her. And she said she will always try to keep you with herself. And they said, no, you are totally wrong. My mother screamed at me every day, go away, get off, fuck off, go away from here. Why don't you marry or something? Go away. Yes, she said, but you will see one day when you are going to go, really, you will see what happens there. Now she's shouting this, but one day when you really leave, she will be mad.
That makes sense. I mean, that's what you thought love was.
Yes.
You weren't going to walk away from that. And then Boban told you that. So he was very supportive of you in many ways, but in some ways he wasn't supported. Can you talk about that a little, supportive of you?
Yeah, he had his spiritual development, which is very important to him. But this thing includes that he's not supposed to work and earn until it comes from higher levels. So it was only me who financially supported us, and it was not easy at all. With my schooling, art schooling, I couldn't find decent job. I mean, we were in Serbia, in Belgrade, just before the wars that Milosevic made, and it was terrible time. You couldn't find easily any job at that point. So I don't know. I guess I was lucky to some extent. I found some job. So we stayed together, and being with him even in that situation was far better. He was more, how to say, positive than living with my mother. Living with my mother, it was hell. Living with him, it was peace. Nobody shouted. Nobody slammed the doors. Nobody was screaming, yelling, calling names. On the contrary, it was kind of pleasant. I can't say he was nice in the home, and I learned a lot of things from him even at that point.
Tell me about what, when you heard the bombings or the sirens going off and you were frightened, what did he do to make you feel better?
Yeah, he was great in these terrible situations. You know, people freaked out. It was horrible when you hear sirens, and but still, it was terrible when you hear this noise. And he would say, "No, no, no, don't worry, it's nothing. They're not going to shoot us. Let's go dancing." And I was kind of, "What? Dancing? No! You are completely out of your mind. Believe me." And then we would roll the carpet and move the furniture and let the music on, and we would dance. We were best in English waltz.
Oh, that is so
That
beautiful.
was cool. Yes, that was really cool.
So it took your mind off of the fear.
Definitely, yes.
That's amazing. How did things end for you with Boban?
It was very difficult, especially because now I didn't have work, but he was saying, "No, you have to have the bigger perspective. You have to relax. You have to do what you do best. You have to draw and you to go into art and blah, blah, blah. And the money would come from some place or anything." Money didn't come. We ended up living with his mother. And his mother was a monster. It was different monster than mine. It was horrible, and I started to have panic attacks first time in my life. It was really horrible. So I had to leave. Even with my mother, it was better. I mean, at least I knew some of it. I knew that minefield. This minefield, I didn't know. It was really completely crazy. It was.
So you left, did you leave Boban while you were still living with his mother?
Yeah, I left and I turned back to my parents. So I was with my parents for some time, which is not very happy, but it was better. I didn't have panic attacks, at least not at that point. Not.
So then you had another boyfriend, Igor, with his son, Sergey. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Igor seemed totally different than Boban. He seemed very open, very humble, very kind, nice, and for some time he was really good dad. He was really. We spent weekends with Sergey, mounting around the city. We went to Ada Lake, and it was such a fun. And at the beginning, the kid was like, he was not happy to see me, which is normal. I mean, when I would come, he turned his back to me, and it was so cute. It was so cute. I laughed so much. But very soon he noticed that I like him so much and that I always include him. He felt accepted and included, so he relaxed. And I can't explain how happy I was seeing his love. His love, it was so obvious that I don't know. I never felt something from another human being. That's amazing. But later on, it was not good. I mean, with him, it is okay, but it was a horrible situation because, as it turned, Igor was also narcissist. And narcissists, they can be, for some time, very nice. For some time, and with him, it lasted for a year or so. He was okay. But later on, it was really unbearable. He would flirt with just about anybody. He would scream at his mother. His mother lived with us. And it was unbearable. And I stayed a year more just because of Sergey. I was really afraid to leave that kid with him because it was horrible atmosphere and everything. And this behavior, I couldn't understand because he didn't seem so stupid, Igor. And when I wanted to talk to him that I'm leaving him, I found some place to move. And he just said, "No, I don't want to talk to you." He was offended. Could you imagine? He behaved terribly and he was offended. And I called Igor in his working place, and I told him that I hardly talked to him because he said, I don't want to talk to you. And I said, okay, but you need to know that I left you. and that level of silence, I will never forget. he was totally shocked. It was such a silence. He was in total shock. Obviously, he never expected me to leave.
I am feeling way too pretty to even try to deal with petty little things like you. Go ahead and stir up drama.
He was so wrapped up in himself, he never even understood what was going on with you.
No.
And so, did you ever see Sergey again?
Once we saw, because his mother, she was normal woman. She appreciated me for loving her son. That's how I would be. That if it would be opposite, and him, and then Igor made scene to him and to his mother. So we never saw each other again.
Oh my God. Maybe he'll see this video and he'll find you.
I don't know. I don't know. I just hope he is happy as he can be by his nature. He had a lovely nature. He was not just pretty. He was really nice as a person.
But tough to have a father like that, right?
Yes.
It's unreal what you've been through. One thing that I want to go back just to this for a moment. When you couldn't eat, you at that point in your life, I think you said when you were 17, you were hospitalized because your life was so terrible. There was so much abuse that you couldn't eat, and you ended up in the hospital. Can you just tell the story of what happened there?
Yes, I was really expecting to die. I didn't have courage to stop my life by myself, but I knew that I was going to die, and that I can't go further, and I felt very, very guilty again for not knowing why, but I was guilty, and I was a horrible person and all that, and I was in chaos, really. I couldn't eat. I felt really, I just wanted the whole world to let me be and just die in a peace. And with that state of mind, I entered the hospital room, and there were two older ladies, and they were very kind. They were asking me why I was there, but I couldn't even speak to them. I used to older ladies to be very mean, to be very judgmental and nasty. So I said nothing. I just proceeded, and they let me be. But through my my dark fog, while I was waiting to die, I heard their talk, their laughter. They were talking about something, and against my will, I was starting to listen, and I was starting to laugh, because they were really funny. They were really funny. They made jokes about their illnesses, which were serious. And it was really funny. One was mentioning that they took the skin from her butt to put it on some place where she needed it, something like this. And they were teasing each other, and they noticed me, that I was starting to laugh, so they included me in that. And later on, I opened up. I told them that I don't know why, but I feel like dying, and that I feel horrible, that I feel that I'm a horrible person, and that I feel that I don't deserve to live. And I remember these two faces, dear, they were kind of, we don't know you, but I don't know why you should feel that way. You don't seem dangerous at all. You don't seem that way. But remember one thing, you have all the rights to live. Whatever told you differently must be very wrong. It is some problem with that person. Something like this they told me, and I was like, I was thinking about it. They were really honest. I felt it. You feel it. Sometimes somebody is just flattering or something, and you feel that the emptiness behind it. But these two ladies, they were really kind from their hearts, and I felt it, and I will remember them as long as I live. I mean, I'm really grateful.
So they turned it around for you and you felt like eating again after being with them?
Yes, first time after a long time I felt like eating, and it was easier. It was not easy still. I didn't know what's going on at that point. I still thought that it is something wrong with me, but at least I remembered those words that I deserve to live.
Right. Beautiful. So they were angels. Angels.
Yes, they were angels. If angels exist, these are my angels.
Nice. So Svetlana, what makes you smile? What makes you happy?
My guys.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if you can see the one there sleeping.
Yes.
Can you see? He's so careless.
Oh.
Went to salon with him yesterday, and since then, no person in the street that wouldn't smile when he sees him, because he's so gorgeous.
Oh, so your cat and your dog, and what about your art? Tell me about your art.
Yeah, art makes me smile very often, but since I live out of my art, there are lots of other things together with it. I don't have clients very often like you are. So sometimes it is kind of, this part when you arrange the project, when when you have to remind somebody on payment, that sort of stuff. I'm not good at it, but I have to be good at it.
Right, it's your business.
Yeah, business.
But if you had all the money in the world and you had no worries about making a living, how would your life be different?
I would probably be painter then. If that would be the case, I would buy all the things necessary and will live. I would certainly live in Split. And there is actually Split is also amazing because of the light. It is very big and great light there. It is, you can see everything, and that's bright and strong colors. It is inspiring by itself. Oh my God, it was beautiful. During the winter, it is lemon trees and lots of lemons, and their green market, such a small smells. It's beautiful, and their cuisine, it's fantastic, Mediterranean, kind of similar to Greek, but even better, I would say.
So a lot of your art has got those beautiful scenes, beach scenes and things.
Through my life, I always loved the beach. We have lake here in Belgrade, and that's big luck for me. It has lots of beaches, and there are some cafes. And what is most important, there is somebody who really takes care of this place. So it means it is everybody's place, but it's some guys pick up the garbage. It is always green. It is the water is always clean. And I mean, I'm amazed by their work, and this is exactly the place I like, the best one after the beach at the sea.
Well, I mean, you can see in your art how much you love the beach, and your art, I just have to say that, when you do graphic art for 99 Designs, which is where the world goes to find great artists to work on their products or their projects or their companies or their organizations. And when I was looking for an artist there, I went through page after page after page of portfolios and just looking for the right person. And I think I got to the 9th or the 10th page, and there it was, your artwork. And I was like, oh my God, the heavens opened up. There is a God, and her name is Eva N. Garda. That's your art name there. And I was like, I don't have to look any further. And my very first project with you, all I did was tell you the name of our project and, whatever. And all of a sudden we had one of the most fantastic logos for us. I mean, just your talent is just extraordinary. And I think that, if anybody, and it's not even just that, it's like go to your Instagram page, and we're going to give that information here, and see some of the most wondrous, stunning art ever. It takes me into another world when I see your art. You see such beauty, you know, considering that your history and your background was so dark and so abusive growing up. And through all that, and through the toxic relationships, you have got this light in you that you express through your art, and it's astoundingly beautiful. And I if I could have paintings of Svetlana's art on every wall, I would be a happy person, because I would be living in paradise, because you draw paradise. Your animals that you draw, your landscapes, your beaches, the fashion, the art of the fashion that you draw is just, I mean, I don't mean to just completely like dominate this conversation right now, but I want everybody to go and see your art. So I know that your Instagram is called Ava's Art, and we're going to need to put that up there because it's spelled a certain way. And that's the great place. Where else can we reach you, or can anyone reach you, Svetlana?
My dearest place is 99 Designs.
We'll make sure to have that listed so that anybody that wants to, anybody who doesn't use you for anything is missing out, because your work is, oh my Lord. I got to go look at it after we finish today, because it is very inspiring. So I just want to thank you so much for being here today. And it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. And best of luck with everything, with your art, and you know, having all the money in the world so that you could just do painting and nothing else. You deserve the best.
Thank you for this conversation. It is very nice to be listened to.
Oh, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon, Svetlana.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hon.